Welcome back to Gold Derby, Joyce. I'm Christopher Rosen, joined by Joyce saying, Joyce, it's night. I have this weird mood lighting here on the video. You can see
your Christmas tree is just blowing up right now. I think it's the 12th day of Christmas today. So.
I think so. Isn't that a lyric? Taylor Swift has a lyric in one of her songs where she's like, "We're not taking down the tree. It's January." And I'm like, Taylor, come to my house because this thing's not coming down.
You have
for
it
a
up
while.
year round like this. It's a party.
It might, but hey, we're back, Joyce. We teased this yesterday. We're back now again to give our predictions for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. The nominations are announced next week on Wednesday via Instagram Live, Joyce.
Again,
we're so excited.
Second year in a row.
No Daveed Diggs this year. It's Vanessa Hudgens and Rosario Dawson to do it on Instagram Live.
Will they take 10 minutes to connect like Lily Collins and Daveed Diggs needed last year?
I'm actually hoping through a year of the pandemic and doing everything digitally and virtually and stuff, I think maybe the Wi-Fi has gotten better. It feels like I have not seen as much like technical failures recently. I don't know. I probably just jinxed us.
I guess we'll see. I feel like they might be a little bit more savvy with it. So I don't know. Hopefully they learned from last year.
I can't imagine they did not. But the show, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, the show is February 27th on a Sunday night. It'll air on TNT and TBS, and I assume not on Instagram Live, but I'm sure people will be Instagramming about it whenever the show happens in however capacity it happens. But we're going to go through our predictions, Joyce. We're going to start with the television side of things, and then we'll get to the film later, kind of mix it up a little bit because we always talk about film. But now we can talk about
It's Oscar season, but there are also TV awards too.
Yeah. And now we can talk about Succession first instead of
again. It's been 2 weeks since we've talked about Succession.
So we're just gonna go through. I guess I'll read off my picks, and then you can read off yours, and then you can tell me why mine are bad. Because a lot of them are suspect, as the kids say. So for drama ensemble, I have got Succession, Squid Game, Yellowstone, Morning Show, and Handmaid's Tale. That's my 5.
Okay. I have Succession, Morning Show, Squid Game, Handmaids, and Pose.
So I had Pose, and then I was like, Yellowstone is one of the most popular shows on television, and not again to go back on. Yesterday we were talking about Spider-Man being like popularity contest and whatever. Yellowstone I feel like is an incredibly popular show, and it just feels very SAG Awards friendly in that capacity. I think like probably a lot of people have watched it, and I think it's only grown in popularity, and it has a pretty strong ensemble. And that was my rationale.
Yeah. Well, it's always been popular, though.
I think
it's always been like very well watched by its fan base, but like every awards body has ignored it completely.
I think this is the year for Yellowstone.
Because it also has a spinoff airing concurrently, or like the season 4 just ended of Yellowstone. But I was thinking of because like Showtime also has Yellow Jackets, which is picking up steam, still airing. Like, what if the voters just confused the yellow shows?
So I thought that too, and I actually almost put Yellow Jackets in, and then I was like, I think that's more of a Twitter phenomenon than like a real life phenomenon.
It's also a first year show, and we know SAG it's kind of late to the party often, right. as with Succession, it's never nominated here ever in any category. So
this year I feel like it's gonna get a lot of nominations, especially based on my predictions. I don't know about yourself, but I have a ton of Succession actors in here to tease it out. But I don't know. I thought Yellowstone, I just was like, I know Pose is really popular, and obviously it's its final season. And I was kind of debating between the Morning Show and Pose as which one to knock out in my predictions, because I feel like the other 3 are probably pretty set. I feel like Succession, Squid Game, and Handmaid's Tale for my other 3. And I was like, I feel pretty confident in those. But I just feel like even though the Morning Show season 2 is maybe not as well received as season 1, Joyce, it still has got a lot of
very actor friendly though.
A lot of actors that people like, and so that's why I kept
very just like shouty.
Yeah, a lot of acting. Mm-hmm. It's like the House of Gucci of television.
It's true, yeah. And like last time, it got 3 individual nominations for its first season and 1 for Jennifer Aniston, and it did not make it into ensemble. Kind of similar to how later at the Emmys, it got individual acting nominations and Billy Crudup won, and it did not make drama series.
So that's why I kept it in, because I was like, I think they're going to put it in for this. And also, I think like,
well, also like this year is kind of bare because none of last year's nominees are eligible. Like The Crown won last year for the second time in a row, not airing or eligible this season. What else was last year? Better Call Saul, not back yet. Bridgerton, not back yet. Lovecraft, canceled. And Ozark premiering in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Season 4, final season, part 1. So a brand new slate of nominees this year.
Were there any other ones that you thought of putting in? I guess in our odds, the top 5 are Succession, Morning Show, Handmaid's Tale, Squid Game, and Pose. Then This Is Us, and then Yellowstone, and then Loki.
I love Loki. I think it would be a worthy nominee. I don't see it getting in. I did early on have This Is Us in there as a former champ, but this year its final season just premiered 2 days ago on Tuesday, January 4th. So this is the first time it has not aired in the fall in the lead up to the nomination voting. And it didn't return last year either, So I feel like maybe they're over it, even though it's won twice before. And the thing with Pose, even though I'm predicting it, it's also never been nominated in any category, even after Billy Porter won the Emmy. So that's not a lock at all. But I feel like maybe the field is open enough for it to get in for its final season, and it did kind of not explode, but it did better at the Emmys this past September. Michaela J. Rodriguez, that's what she goes by now. She got into lead actress, and it could be kind of like The Americans, which was also never nominated at SAG until its final season for Ensemble.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely could see it. I just was like, I'm going Yellowstone. I just feel like the SAG voters are basic in a lot of ways.
They're very populist. And also you just don't know. The other thing about populist. It is that they use nom-coms for the nominations. So I feel like if the nominations were determined by the entire SAG body or SAG-AFTRA body, which is 160,000 members, the nominations might be different. But the nom-coms, it's 2,000 to 2,500 people. So you're just at the mercy of their tastes, and they change every year. So you just don't know what they're watching and what they like.
The other thing I was thinking, another reason I'm kind of hope dicting it a little on Yellowstone is also, I love the idea of it seemed like in the media, a lot of people have pit Yellowstone and Succession against each other as
people are this is Yellowstone is just like Succession.
Right. And Red State, Blue State, and elites versus non-elites. And I was like, that would be a fun narrative for the SAG Awards to have in their pocket for February, just just fueling the culture war, as it were, Joyce. So that was my pick.
Okay. Well, the other thing is looking further down the line, do you think it's between, I think most people think it's between Succession and Squid Game, but I know a lot of people are now predicting Squid Game to win. Do you think it will win?
I don't know. I think it could, because I think obviously I think the SAG has probably a larger maybe international. I don't know. I just feel I think Succession is going to win because it's never won, right? So they're not going to. It's
never been nominated.
How are you not going to give Succession something? And this is for season 3 that just aired, right? Obviously, which is a great season. So I would say I think it still will win. And I don't know. I know Squid Game I feel is a little like Yellowstone. I have to be honest. I'm it's incredibly popular, but not mixed, but not mixed reviews, but not incredibly euphoric reviews, right? It's a solid, entertaining show. Whereas Succession, I think, achieves the high art of a, early seasons of Game of Thrones, Mad Men, that kind of thing.
I also feel when season 2 of Succession was snubbed and that was coming off it's Emmy win, and season 2 just kind of blew up, but I think that year that nom-com just was kind of late to it.
Yeah.
And maybe if the nominations were determined by the entire body, it would have been nominated.
Right.
So, and I feel and that season, that was the only major award show, the SAG Awards, where it wasn't nominated for anything, because it swept everything else en route to the Emmys, where it finally won drama series and everything. So yeah, this is the only major award it's missing.
Right. I think it's going to get it. I gotta be honest. I'm going to pick it when it gets nominated. Joyce, should we go to actor now?
Actor. This is okay. You read yours first.
So I have Brian Cox, Jeremy Strong, Kieran Culkin, and Matthew McFadyen, all from Succession, and then Kevin Costner from Yellowstone.
Oh my god. Okay, see, I thought I was bad because after the Succession finale, I added Kieran along with, I already had Jeremy and Brian, and I was like, I'm putting 3 Succession guys in here.
I got all 4 in. I'll tell you what.
Wow.
So let me give you, first I'll say this. I have Brian in first because I think if you think about the season, and while Jeremy Strong is, I think, the greatest actor, I think Brian Cox's season 3 was like incredible. And I have to imagine that I actually think he was better than Jeremy Strong in this season. I just thought his stuff was so good. Everything he did was amazing. And I think it's his best season of the show. And I think Jeremy, you could argue, peaked in season 2, even though season 3 was like awesome and he had a lot of good stuff. There were still a couple episodes where he was kind of like sidelined because Kendall was sidelined. And, I don't know. So I have Brian winning. Kieran, I have to put in because he's so good. And everything with the dick pic was just like unhinged and so perfect. And I don't know how you could not put him in based on that one scene alone. And Matthew McFadyen, McFadyen, I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. Matthew McFadyen, just incredible the whole season. And honestly, if it was any other show, I would say he could probably win. But he's against like his own cast is all like A+ performers. So I put him in. I just thought this season was so great for Tom. And he got a lot of like really good stuff.
He was the MVP of the season, really.
And then I have Kevin Costner for Yellowstone just because I'm a hack. And I was like, you know what? I could put Billy Crudup. I could put Billy Porter. I could put Sterling K. Brown or anybody else. But I was like, I'm going Cost. I'm bringing him in.
Okay.
That's it.
I guess the bigger question is like, will you keep these same picks by Wednesday?
Yeah, no, I'm not changing. I'm going down. I'm just going down in flames on this. I'd rather swing big and be wrong.
Okay.
But do you beyond Kevin Costner, let's just say that's a fail. Do you think you don't have all 4 Succession actors in?
No, I have 3. Okay. I have Jeremy, Brian, and Kieran. I put in, like I said, after the finale, because he really finished the season strong.
Incredible.
Like those last 3 episodes, my God. And the finale alone, his facial expressions,
the best.
Wow, like
so good.
And I feel like I do agree that Matthew was amazing throughout the season and really had like such a great arc, and he just played like the pathos so well, and just like every choice he made was so good. And then obviously the finale twist or whatever you want to call it. But I feel like just the taste of the SAG voters, that if they were gonna choose between him and Kieran, they might lean more toward Kieran because he is more populist appealing. He's like the Joker, the jester of the show. Mm-hmm. He gets like all like the quippy one-liners and everything. And like Matthew, to me, I've told like several people this, but like his performance feels like the type that like will only be recognized by the Emmys, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like maybe he won't get nominated or win anywhere else. Like he has a Critics' Choice nomination. So I put Kieran in, and I feel like if they do love this show as maybe we're expecting or hope-dicting them to, because we are Succession stans, then he could get in. And then the other 2 I have are Billy Crudup, because I thought he was the best part of season 2 of the morning
incredibly
show.
Good. I love Billy Crudup. I really do. And I would love to see him get nominated, but I was going down with the Succession ship and Kevin Costner.
And he was nominated last time. And then I have Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game.
So that seems like the likely maybe nominee there, and especially if Squid Game is going to like get the ensemble nod and he will like pop out from there. I think those are your 5 seem much more stable than my 5, I would say. So if you're watching this and are like, boy, I'm really going to listen to their picks, absolutely do not listen to mine. Listen to Joyce's.
I dumped I think I dumped Sterling for Kieran, but like this category has never had 3 actors from one show. See, this is the problem with the SAGs not having supporting categories for TV.
It's true. And because then you end up we're looking down the list. Nicholas Braun is on this category as well. And like,
he's not getting in here.
He's not getting in.
Sorry to Nick.
I would say, like you mentioned before, like the drama ensemble is maybe like not the strongest list of shows because there's a lot that we're missing, right, from last time. But I look at this actor list and I'm like, this show is like really deep.
Because you have like a million supporting actors here who are never going to get in.
It's just is really incredible, though. There's so many good performances and performers in this list. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like Owen Wilson for Loki, Tom Hiddleston for Loki in the same category. No chance of getting nominated, but incredible work. Steve Carell for Morning Show. I mean, is there a world where Morning Show gets 2 from Carell and Crudup?
I mean, they did, but I would say he's more supporting this season. And
yeah, but he has like a great
in that like Billy was there the entire season.
True, but Carell does have a great, subjectively great arc, I would say. Definitely has a lot to do. So
great to who?
Great to Carell, probably. No, I've never seen him do that kind of stuff before. So assuming you're right, regardless of whether I'm incredibly wrong or not, I think we could both agree that Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong will get nominated. And they're probably the top 2 to win. Do you think Jeremy wins or Brian?
I have Jeremy in first. I mean, I'll be fine with whoever winning between them. Like, I don't care.
So. Yeah. I mean, hard to argue either one. I just thought like Brian, I was like, man, Brian Cox, and I had to actually pick Brian Cox for the Emmys this year because I was when we get to that, because I'm like, they got to give him an Emmy for this show, right? Eventually.
Yeah. Like my whole thing is I want them to each have won an Emmy for the show before it's over. And it would be easier if like Brian wins this year, so they each already have won before we go into the last 2 seasons, 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah.
So I'm pulling for Brian. Drama actress choice, another unhinged Chris Rosen special here. I have Jennifer Aniston, the reigning champ, or one for the Morning Show, and have her in. Sarah Snook for Succession, Elizabeth Moss for Handmaid's Tale. Then I'm going hard on Succession choice. J. Smith Cameron for Succession, and I put Christine Baranski in for The Good Fight.
Wow. Okay. Well, just a moment of silence for last year's lineup, which was all Netflix, just Crown and Ozark. So,
yes.
I don't think that's happening this year.
No. So I left out Reese Witherspoon, who was obviously nominated, and Michaela Rodriguez.
So I have our girl Sarah Snook in first.
Nice. Wow. Bold.
And then Jennifer, who sort of is reigning because she wasn't eligible last season.
Yeah, not reigning. You know what I mean. She won previously in the category, right?
And Elizabeth and J. Smith Cameron and Michaela. So mine is boring. My lineup.
We have actually the same one, except I put in Christine Baranski. I was thinking, for some reason in my head, I'm like, who SAG likes? New York shows and the Kings. And I was just like,
they've never touched up. You're just in the tank for Paramount Plus now. Yellowstone and The Good Fight.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm like, I don't know. I just could see Christine Baranski getting in. I don't understand how.
I mean, like the season 5 was very well. I mean, it's The Good Fight has always been well received. It's just, I think it's hurt by airing on a service that is underwatched. That also went under a rebrand. And
here was my thinking for this too. Looking at the list, the reason it was a little bit of Christine Baranski is obviously like a legendary actress and very good. And The Good Fight is a good show and she's great on it. But I was like, I think on the Morning Show, if you were looking, like Reese got nominated here last time it was eligible, right?
No, she didn't.
She didn't. So Reese, I don't think would get nominated again because I would say she's better in the first season than she was in the second season. She had more to do maybe. And I thought Juliana Margulies actually could get nominated, but I don't know if she has enough because it's more of a supporting part and like maybe that kind of dings her a little bit. And then I was like, MJ Rodriguez for Pose, yes, but I don't know. I just feel like Pose, is out of sight, out of mind a little bit. So then I went to The Good Fight, which is maybe totally irrational because Good Fight is probably very out of sight, out of mind, but that was my thinking.
I did have Juliana early on because she has 4 wins in this category. She has 8 wins total from her days on ER and The Good Wife. But yeah, I do agree. Like maybe she was, obviously a supporting role on the show, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how hard they'll go on the Morning Show this time.
Yeah.
And then Michaela, I I replaced Julianne with Michaela, but I don't feel like great about it because they've never touched Pose before.
Right. So I guess we'll see.
I feel like better about J. Smith Cameron because I feel like she has worked with everyone. She knows everyone, and everyone loves her, and everyone loves Jerry.
That was my thinking too, and that was kind of why I put her in. I think I agree with you. I think that could happen, and I don't know. I don't know. I have Jennifer Aniston winning still. Sarah Snook is great on Succession though, so if they just sweep through Succession, I could see her winning. But
yeah, that's more of like a hope diction. But like Sarah's performances has more like subtlety to it. Like Jen gets these like big speeches.
Yeah.
And she like flames out. She gets COVID in the finale.
Any chance Elizabeth Moss could make a resurgence for Handmaid's Tale? What do you think?
Handmaid's has never won a SAG award, so
I just thought that the last season it was definitely like a rebound season, right? And
yeah,
I feel like if Sarah Snook and Jennifer Aniston like knock each other out, maybe Elizabeth Moss.
I don't know. I feel like they might just keep nominating it, but I don't know if I would have to like go back and like research how often like an aging show won its first award later on in its run, when it's been nominated before for like its early seasons. So
all right, let's move on, Joyce. Next category, we've got TV Comedy Ensemble. This one I'm a little
pretty easy.
So it's pretty easy, but I took a swing at the end just because I was like, I don't know, why not? So I have Ted Lasso, Hacks, Only Murders in the Building, and The Great, and then I threw Reservation Dogs in instead of What We Do in the Shadows. Like, unclear if that would even make sense or what, but those are my five.
I feel like the top three are pretty locked, I would say, even though two of them are first year shows. But yeah, like Ted is winning.
Seemingly Ted would win for sure. I honestly could make a case for Only Murders being the runner-up over Hacks.
Yeah, because that's more ensemble, even though it's not like a huge ensemble, but there's a lot more interplay. Whereas like Hacks is more of a two-hander with Hannah Einbinder and Jean Smart.
And Only Murders in the Building, lots of character actors who have worked with like 3 million people each. You know what I mean? It's just like everybody in the cast seemingly is like a New York, like probably done a Law and Order or 5, like that kind of thing. It just is like a very, very likable, bigger cast. And then what were your 5, Joyce? You have those 3.
So I have those 3. I have The Great. Yes. It was nominated last time. Season 2 premiered in November, but I also feel like it just sort of came and went a little.
Season 2 premiered on November 19th. I remember this because I had to do an interview around it. And on November 19th, it was like Cowboy Bebop, The Great, King Richard. There were like 40, there were literally like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Tick, tick, boom. There were literally like 5 or 6 like major things that came out all on the same day. And I think it did get a little lost, but season 2 was very well received. And I think.
So I really just have it in there because they nominated it last time. But I could see them snubbing it this time if they pick other things. And then I have The Kaminsky Method because like it's Netflix.
Bring it back.
That's their favorite streaming service. It's been nominated before. But I could also see them dropping it for something like Reservation Dogs, What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know. They're not really high on FX. So I don't know if I want to go like too heavy between like Pose and like other FX shows.
Let me give you a couple of names that are way down on our odds list. I want to see if you think they have any shot. And just like that.
Yeah,
it would be a ridiculous long shot, but I could almost see it.
I don't know if like they like okay like did anyone like what was there like that much excitement over like coming back? I don't know. I feel like it's like moderately received,
Yeah.
I
don't disagree.
It's enmeshed in like some other controversies out of its control right now.
Yes. So that maybe not. The other ones I was looking at were a couple of Netflix ones. Emily in Paris, Joyce, any shot?
I mean, if it couldn't get in last year.
and The Chair was the other one I thought could maybe get in.
I really like Sandra Oh. I think I had her in one point. Maybe I still do. I don't know. I have to look. But yeah, it's Netflix. I also don't think it's like super ensemble because it's like very much her. And Jay Duplass as like the de facto male lead.
Right.
Let me throw one at you since I know you love the show. Schmigadoon.
So I thought that too. It is a great ensemble, and it is like a real ensemble. I don't know. Have people stopped talking about it a little? Were they ever talking
I don't.
about it?
I feel like people just mostly talked about Ted while it was airing, like Schmigadoon.
I mean, you look at it now, it's like Ariana DeBose is about to get an Oscar nomination. She's like a major factor in it. You have Keegan-Michael Key and Cecily Strong, Martin Short, with like a couple of brief scenes only with the only murders buzz. You know, I don't know. I could see it. I just don't believe it. I don't know. I would be very happy if it got it. Same with like, it's like that I put on the same level as like Girls Five Eva, a show that is like very well liked.
I wish,
but
like that's an ensemble.
Not very well watched at the moment. So I don't know. And let's go to actor, Joyce. This one I could really do in 2 seconds because I just have the incredibly the chalk list. I have Jason Sudeikis, Steve Martin, Martin Short, both of them for Only Murders in the Building. I have Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, and I have Nicholas Hoult for The Great.
That is exactly who I have.
So I was trying to convince myself that Steve Martin would win Best Actor over Jason Sudeikis. Is that crazy?
Probably.
I'm not going to do it yet, but I was like, I could see it. I don't know.
They also like repeats here.
Yeah.
You know, as you recall, Alec Baldwin 7-peated for 30 Rock here.
So it seems like it would be the slam dunk would be Jason.
Yeah, and he won last year, so he can go 2 in a row. I could see him maybe losing for season 3. Yeah. And I also feel like, how do you choose between Steve and Martin?
It's tough. I would choose Steve, frankly. I'll tell you why. I like Martin does a lot of bits. Mm-hmm. Steve does a lot of like
he's the straight man.
He's a straight man, and I dig the straight man. I think the bit he's so funny, Steve Martin. I just love his.
He also gets like the amazing physical comedy in the finale.
Great stuff, and I think his stuff with Selena Gomez is amazing as well. And I really like their interplay, and that will tease the comedy actress choice, where I have Selena Gomez on my nominees, but I have Jean Smart for Hacks, Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso. I put Issa Rae in for Insecure, Selena Gomez, and I put Hannah Einbinder for Hacks. I left off Elle Fanning and Sandra Oh.
Okay. I have Jean, both Hannahs, Selena and Elle, and I am contemplating dropping Elle as well. They snubbed her last time too. That would be very rude because last time they nominated the cast and Nicholas and did not nominate her.
I put Issa Rae in just because I was like, it's the final season, and I think her performance is really good, and
they've never nominated her either.
So first time for everything, maybe. I thought I was gonna throw you a curveball with my Hannah Einbinder, but you agree that she's in.
I put her in there, but it's sort of more like a hope that well, because I feel like it's probably easier for Ted to get the double noms with Hannah, Juno, perhaps. I don't know if I'll change that, but
my thinking was that I feel like it's a SAG friendly show, and like the fact that she's in every scene with Jean Smart will help.
That's what I was thinking too. It's such a two-hander.
Yeah. So. And I feel like that makes it more likely even than, I mean, Brett Goldstein, I think will obviously get in because like there's not as the bench of male actors in comedy series, not as deep as.
Also like season 2 was just like Roy Kent.
But I'm like I think the Hannah and Jean show is like really, they're together is like great. It's like a great twofer. So I don't know.
I don't know. I might put in Juno. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't decided. Or maybe I'll drop. Maybe I'll have both Juno and Hannah Einbinder.
Wow. I mean, that would be great. Anybody else here popping out? Not really.
Who else is there?
I mean, a lot of like people who are well liked, but on like in smaller shows, right? Like Haley Steinfeld Dickinson, you know, Maya Erskine for Pen 15. These people are
Haley should be nominated for Hawkeye.
Maybe next
Hawkeye
year.
should be nominated for everything.
Oh, it's not even. Who knows? All right, we're winding down now. Joyce, mini movie actor.
And they are desperately in need of an ensemble category for this. So rude.
So this, I had a little bit of a tough time with this one, but
well, actor is kind of all over the place.
So I got Evan Peters winning. I threw Oscar Isaac in for Scene from Marriage because it's very actorly. I have Ewan McGregor for Halston, Michael Keaton for Dopesick, and Murray Bartlett for The White Lotus. And I wanted to go against the grain and pick somebody else, but I just couldn't figure out who to pick. Options to me were like Hamish Linklater for Midnight Mass, Clive Owen for Impeachment, but I couldn't really pull the trigger on anybody else. So I just went with the top 5.
Yeah, I have Evan, Michael Keaton, Ewan McGregor, Oscar Isaac, and Murray Bartlett. So.
Tough to come up with like another 5. It just feels like it's such a weird category because I'm like, how are all these people in the same category?
Yeah. And well, yeah, because also they don't have supporting either. So we're also predicting a supporting performance to win, which is not impossible. Like it's happened before. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of the fall limited series weren't like huge hits, like on the level of a Mayor of Easttown, you know? So I think like people like really like Dopesick, but it didn't really like kind of like crash the zeitgeist like Mayor did or anything. But I could still see like Michael Keaton winning because he's Michael Keaton.
I think that's a good note. I could see him winning also, but I still have Evan on top. I don't know.
Yeah, I still have Evan. I think you can't discount the fact that Mayor won 3 acting Emmys just 3 months ago too. So
right. All right. And the last one here for TV, mini movie actress. Kate Winslet, Mayor of Easttown. I have Jennifer Coolidge for The White Lotus, Jessica Chastain for Scene from Marriage, Julianne Nicholson for Mayor of Easttown, and I put Margaret Qualley in for Maid.
Okay. I have Kate. I think she's just going to sweep. Congrats to Kate. I have Julianne. I have Margaret, Jennifer Coolidge, and Caitlin Dever for Dopesick.
Wow. So you're on that Dopesick train. It is a great performance. I love Caitlin Dever. So you left Jessica Chastain off, I guess.
I did leave her off. I don't really know why. Also, because maybe like subconsciously, because I'm also predicting her on the film side for
same.
Tammy Faye.
She would have 2 nominations in that case, but
yeah. Well, you're predicting her for 2, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I think like I think there is like a lot of appreciation and then love for Dopesick, and Caitlin is great. She was robbed of an Emmy nomination for Unbelievable, so I could see her getting in maybe. And I feel like Scenes from a Marriage wasn't huge either. Like it was also a short run. It was like 5 episodes. I feel like there was more press for like Isaac sniffing her armpit than there was for like the actual show itself, you know?
Yeah. I'll give you a little conspiracy Chris here. The fact that Rosario Dawson is a star of Dopesick.
Oh, you're going to predict Rosario Dawson?
I'm not, but I'm saying like I wouldn't be surprised if like Dopesick actually rates really well and gets a Michael Keaton and Caitlin Dever nomination just because Rosario is like reading it out, because like it's a ready-made moment. Let's say, not that they didn't even know. Obviously, it's
as like a tee up. I was thinking also like. Well, I was like sort of contemplating it before, but I was like, should I put Tick Tick Boom into Ensemble because of Vanessa Hudgens?
I think I already have it there. So
I mean, listen, last year when they did this, David was nominated, so
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So that's it. I mean, like, any other thoughts on TV, Joyce, before we hit film?
I don't know what other contenders are here in this category. Oh, I guess Andy McDowell, Margaret's mom, who has a nice meaty part in Maid as well. So it could be a mother-daughter duo if they really go over or go big on Maid. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I was thinking at one point I had Triple Mayor of Easttown in here like very early on in the season with Gene Smart.
Well, I'll give you one show we didn't really talk about was Impeachment, another FX show that was actually very hard to watch because it's not streaming anywhere. You couldn't even like stream it on Hulu the next day.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were confused about that, but that's because FX struck a deal with Netflix.
Yes.
To give them all the American Crime Story streaming rights back in 2016. So
that I think really hurt Impeachment, but I was like trying to figure out how to get like Beanie Feldstein or Sarah Paulson or both in here, and I just couldn't figure it out. I don't know. I guess I do think like the most set nominees are Kate Winslet, Julianne Nicholson, and Jennifer Coolidge. So I guess it's possible that like Jessica Chastain and Margaret Kelly are out, and like two others are in, and maybe it's Beanie Feldstein and Sarah Paulson. But I'm not sure a lot of people were able to watch it with ease and were able to revisit it even, because it just is not anywhere to watch.
Yeah. And I think people are also confused by like the FX on Hulu thing as well. Right. Not that it's an FX on Hulu show. It was just like pure FX, but it was just, a lot of people don't have cable anymore these days. So they want
and that was why, again, back to the Netflix thing, Margot Kelly, I'm like, everybody watch Made. It was like a humongous hit for Netflix.
SAG loves Netflix.
Yep. So, I mean, then, yeah, there you go. I don't know. There's no other, are there any, I'm scrolling through any Hawkeye, Haley Steinfeld for Hawkeye, not probably going to happen.
I wish. It really sucks that last year they extended the TV eligibility to match the film one to February 28th, because that made WandaVision eligible last year because it premiered January 15th. So it's not eligible this time.
Correct.
Which is terrible because it obviously premiered like too late for them to catch on to vote for it. And I feel like if they would have been slam dunk nominees this time if they were
absolutely. All right. Well, that was TV, Joyce. Now let's go to the film side of things, where
only 5 categories.
5 categories. I'm ready. I'm ready for fire takes. You ready? All right. So we'll go ensemble first. My picks are Belfast, Power of the Dog, Coda, King Richard, and Tick, Tick, Boom.
So you did put Tick, Tick, Boom in.
I did. And I booted West Side Story, and I booted Don't Look Up. I booted West Side Story because I saw that it didn't seem like they were getting screeners, the SAG people. They were getting links.
So they finally sent them digital links like right before Christmas. So it was like the last screener, and like late screeners is bad with SAG, but this is also not like a normal year in that, nominations were in December, because like in those times, like pre-COVID, whatever, it was bad if you sent them late, like right before Thanksgiving, because like voting closed right after. And I remember like 2 years ago when I found out that like Little Women didn't send them until like right before Thanksgiving, I just dropped it completely from my predictions and I didn't get in at all.
So there are a lot of great movies that happen too. That's why I was thinking West Side Story.
So like this, like I thought it would have been fine like a month ago because it opened and it had like good reviews. But I was also presuming that they would send it at that time, like, 2 weeks before Christmas, but they didn't.
Right.
And they haven't sent physical screeners either. But I also don't know what this new timetable would do. Like, maybe a lot more people just watched it over Christmas, and with, like the COVID surge and everything, more people are staying home. I don't know. So
the other thing is, again, and I might be overthinking this a little, is I love I love West Side Story. It's like
I love West Side Story. Yeah,
great movie. One of my favorites of the whole year. I have it getting like tons of Oscar nominations in my predictions. But I was like, I'm like, I don't know. Compared to the other ensembles, if you think about, is it like really an ensemble? It is like a company movie, I feel like, but it's not like, I wouldn't call it, it's a weird thing. I'm like, the other movies here, I feel like are an ensemble, right? Like,
I wouldn't say like Tick, Tick, Boom is an ensemble, because that's like a one-man show.
I think it is though, because I think you have like the whole like little like group of him and Robin DeJesus and Andrew Garfield.
But like that's just more him like interacting with like people like here and there in his life. You know, he's like ignoring his girlfriend, and then he has like, you know, a couple of scenes in the song with her, and then he's like going to Michael, like,
well,
and then like they have like a song in here too.
Maybe you're right, but I was like, I don't think it's too dissimilar from Power.
I mean, listen, it's like sometimes that's completely irrelevant. Like if they just like a movie, like I don't think Bohemian Rhapsody was a true ensemble because that was very much the Freddie Mercury story, but they just love that movie and they nominated it. So
those are my 5. I left out Don't Look Up also because we've talked about. I don't think that is it's a lot of famous people, but not like an ensemble to me. I don't know. Again, I
think it's ensemble. It's just like they have like pockets of groups interacting, so it's not like the whole thing. It's kind of similar to West Side Story, I guess, but I think with West Side Story, it's also a musical, and there's just a lot more intricacy with like the singing and dancing, and then there's a lot more like large scenes, like the dance at the gym, and the rumble and everything. So, I haven't like touched this in like 3 weeks, so I still have that in first. Nice. So I still have West Side Story. I think on its worst day, it can get 2 probably like this, and like probably Ariana in supporting. So I have that. I have Belfast. I have Don't Look Up. Also because it's Netflix and it exploded over the break. Mm-hmm. So this is also me presuming that like with the extended voting time. So voting closes on Sunday, January 9th. That maybe perhaps they were watching it like, I don't know what Netflix says, like 260 million households. I don't know.
Yeah, 1 million hours viewed, I think it was, Joyce.
Yeah.
A lot of hours.
So, and I have Coda and I have King Richard, but like I said before, like, do I put Tick Tick Boom in here?
I guess the argument would be like,
and also the other thing I was thinking of before the whole Vanessa Hudgens and Rosario Dawson of it all, I was thinking of putting in The Harder They Fall.
So I thought
also Netflix.
I actually had The Harder They Fall in here for a little while. You know, I love that movie. Mm-hmm. It is a great ensemble, and I could see it getting in. I don't know. I feel like when I was looking at my predictions, I'm like, is it too Best Picture heavy? Because I think SAG here has the opportunity to like kind of zig and zag and not predict Best Picture.
And they don't have, because this is it's top award, but it's not a Best Picture award.
Right. It's the best ensemble. So there's no like they're not like trying to chase the Best Picture clout, let's say. I
mean, like they could, but it's also not what they're awarding specifically, and like the correlation of like the ensemble winner is I think like 50% with the Best Picture winner, and there are movies that they've nominated like Crazy Rich Asians that obviously did not get a Best Picture nomination.
So that's why I'm like, I could see Harder They Fall. I really could. I think that's not a bad bet.
Well, my other thing is that last year, like we said, like they love Netflix, and last year they nominated 3 Netflix movies in this category, and I don't know if that was because it was like, you know, pandemic, we're just watching everything at home and like, you know, just boot up Netflix and watch like Chicago 7 and The Five Bloods and Ma Rainey and then vote for it. So I don't know if I'm like under predicting Netflix here in this category, because right now I only have Don't Look Up. And I honestly didn't even consider Power of the Dog. I love Power of the Dog, but it just does not feel like an ensemble movie that they would go for. Like, I think it could get individual nominations for its actors, but it feels like it's another Marriage Story or like The Favorite or The Shape of Water, where they like the parts of it, but it's maybe too like artsy and slow for them, so it doesn't get into like the top category.
I mean, not wrong. I absolutely think I think there will be a lot of surprise in this category. I really do. I think this will be like, we're gonna watch this and be like, oh wow, did not expect Mass to end up in here or something like that. You know,
I mean, Mass deserves it.
And I think it could get in.
I don't know if it'll get in, but
I could see. I mean, who knows? So that's ensemble. Let's go to Best Actress choice. My picks are Nicole Kidman for Ricardos, being the Ricardos, Jessica Chastain for Eyes of Tammy Faye, Kristen Stewart for Spencer, Olivia Colman for Lost Daughter, and Lady Gaga for House of Gucci.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I think that is I think that's the Italian pronunciation. No, Lady Gaga for House of Gucci. That's our chalk 5 basically, with like a couple of flips, but those 5 are the expected nominees. That's what I ended up with.
I have the same, right? Yeah, Nicole, Kristen, Jessica, Gaga, and Olivia. I feel the worst about Olivia. Like, I don't.
Same, actually. I just thought maybe it broke too late.
Not that, but I again, like, back to like the Power of the Dog thing. I don't know if that's too like hard. The type of movie like they would respond to, but I also feel like she's great in it, and she's Olivia Colman, so I don't know
if it was I'll tell you this, if it was anybody other than Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter giving the same performance, I would not have picked the performance for SAG. I just think that because it's Olivia Colman, she will get in on like name recognition alone, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, and I feel like the other, it's just also thinking about like who would replace her. I guess I think like in the odds, like Jennifer Hudson is right behind her.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So they could go like full like biopic, like real person here.
Very easily. Jennifer Hudson, I think, would be a very likely, not like an unsurprising SAG pick, let's say, would be Jennifer Hudson for respect. I feel like Alana Haim and Rachel Zegler are both great, but I don't think they would get in here for SAG. Frances McDormand for Lady Macbeth, a Tragedy Macbeth for Lady Macbeth role. I don't think she would get in. You're kind of like, then there's like losing steam. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, Don't Look Up, or Jodie Comer. I mean,
listen, if they really love Don't Look Up, then
if they like Don't Look Up, I think Jennifer Lawrence get in, but I don't know. I don't think so. I don't have it in, so I know.
I don't know who, like, it doesn't feel right. Like, I feel like there'll be like one surprise here at least, but I don't know who that would be. I have thought about like maybe like Emilia Jones, because I could see them like really loving Coda.
So if they do love Coda, I think she can get in. And it's definitely, I won't know. We won't know until we see the nominations. But I'm like, enough people seen it. Like we always say, it's a great movie. If people watch it, they're going to love it.
I think like it's been out long enough. Like it premiered at Sundance last year, and it hit Apple in August, I think. So like early is always better with SAG.
True.
So yeah, right. I don't know what else there would be. Maybe Sandra Bullock in The Unforgivable. I don't know. I could see Viola Davis getting into supporting because they just love her.
That would be, Joyce, that would be absolutely unhinged. Another incredibly popular.
They would do it. You know, they would do it.
The 200 million hours viewed of The Unforgivable. Have you watched it yet? Have you given your 2 hours?
Unforgivable, I have not watched it yet.
I have also not given my 2 hours.
Yeah, but remember when the trailer came out, and then that clip of like Viola yelling at Sandra Bullock, and then Kerry Washington, you know, her fellow TGIT alum, was like, give Viola the Oscar for the 6 seconds.
So maybe. I mean, I don't have that predicted. Let's do actor, and then we'll get to the supporting category. So for best actor, it's SAG. Joyce, I did it. I have Andrew Garfield in first.
Yes,
Variety.
I moved in there like 2 weeks ago. Like I said, like before Spider-Man.
Variety art cover star or whatever that was that just came online before recording. Andrew Garfield for Tick Tick Boom. I have him winning. I have Will Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch, Peter Dinklage, and I put Nicolas Cage in for Pig. That's my 5.
Nicolas Cage for Pig. Okay.
Yes. I took out all the A-list Denzel and Leo and everybody else. I just went full Pig.
I think Nicholas has a better shot of getting into the Oscars than SAG.
Probably right.
So, but yeah, I have Andrew in first, Will, Benedict. I still have Denzel and Leo, but I'm contemplating dropping one of them, maybe Denzel for Dinklage. I don't know.
So I feel like Dinklage is like another actor who's worked with everybody and is like a beloved actor. And I think he will get in based on that. It's also an incredible performance. I think he has I think I have him in for both Oscar and SAG, but I think he is a stronger bet to get in at SAG than he is at an Oscar nomination.
They nominated him for Station Agent here.
Yeah.
That was pre Game of Thrones. So yeah. And I think I think then like SAG doesn't blind vote really. Like they watch things. So like if they don't have the screener, they're not going to vote for you if they haven't seen it. So, but I also feel like Denzel is the type of person who like they will watch his films and like they would vote for him, and he maybe is the type of person who could just like get by on a name check.
And he's also, I think he is the cover of Variety this week. So it's like he's perfect time to get that last push of SAG voters to get him over the line.
Yeah. I mean, but that film is also like, again, one of the artsier ones. So I don't, but again, like, you know,
that was my reason for not having him in. Even though it's Macbeth and even though it's Denzel, I was like, I think it's too artsy for SAG. Maybe that's bad faith reading of the SAG voters. And if they're watching this and are like, oh, F yourself, Chris, I understand that. But I don't know. That was my thinking.
I think this will be the test for Leo because he's not like hitting any like critics awards, but I don't think he be expecting him to. Mm-hmm. But he kind of needs this to just show any type of strength.
I've been like back and forth on Leo. I think he could get in here because, like you said, he's like Leo, and the movie could really. It's been watched so much. I think that'll like lend him a lot of support.
And he has like a huge Beatty scene in the movie.
I guess because this is my own personal bias showing, and then probably bad way to make predictions. I was just like, I love Leo so much, and I think he's really good in Don't Look Up, but it would not be in my like top 6 or 7 Leo performances probably if I was making a list. And then I'm just like, that's why I don't think he should get nominated. But that doesn't mean anything, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, like if I was ranking off Leo nominations, it would be like Wolf of Wall Street, you know, like Aviator, all these like, you know, Catch Me If You Can down the line. Don't Look Up would be like in the bottom half of the 10, I'd say. So that's why I was like, I don't know.
I mean, you know, Wolf of Wall Street, a late film in 2013, he did not get nominated here. Yes. Still made the Oscars. Yes. But again, like a better performance, a more iconic performance, I would say.
He should have won. Joyce, he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street. Incredible.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that. So I don't,
so he's so good in it.
Listen, he needs to do more comedy. I've always said this.
He does.
But like Don't Look Up, you know, funny and like he's good at playing a dweeb.
He's really funny playing a dweeb.
Like even if he gets in, like he's not winning. I think we know that.
I will say, I think he's so funny. The scene that is, you know, you're right. He has that Beatty scene where he's like Peter Finch in Network, and he's like, the president is lying to you, whatever. But the scene that just kills me is when Ariana, he's like, we're really sorry to hear about your boyfriend, and she's just like, go mind your own business, you old.
Well, the best part of that is like Jennifer Lawrence's like face.
Her face is incredible. Succession, Kieran Culkin level face acting for Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh
and
my
Leo's
God.
reaction is just off the charts funny. It is such a funny scene. I honestly think he's never been funnier than in that sequence.
It's just like we need him in more like these like dorky dad roles. Really,
he definitely needs. He was always an actor where I was like, he looks so young because it's like he's got that baby face for years, and it's like, how's he ever going to play like an old person? And now in Don't Look Up, I was like, oh, I could see it. And it's really funny. I just think he'd be really good at playing like a 50-year-old man, which he is almost. So
yeah, it's just like he doesn't usually have like children in his movies, or they're like really young, like in Inception.
Yeah, not like adult children, which is what it would be if he had children. Because
I feel like we should shout out Melanie Linsky, who plays his wife in Don't Look Up, and also star of Yellow Jackets.
She could end up with 2 nominations, I'd imagine, right? I'm sure she has she had single title card on Don't Look Up. I feel like she is.
I think so. Well, they did that thing where they will like flash a single title card, and then it will like go into shadows when they pop up the next one. I think she had her own.
I think so too.
Yeah,
that'd be fun if she gets 2 nominations for ensembles. Joyce, supporting actress. This one I'm like a little torn on as well.
This is why you should go with Viola Davis.
I have Kirsten Dunst, Katrina Balfe, Rita Moreno, Angelina Ellis, and Ann Dowd. And I
You're going with Ann Dowd. You're going mass.
And I disappointingly left off Ariana DeBose. I guess I was thinking Ann Dowd again is just a SAG presence, and I was like, okay. And Rita Moreno is a legend, and that's why I put them in over like Ariana DeBose, who's a newcomer, relatively speaking, for SAG. Let's say.
So I have Ariana, Kirsten, Ingenue, Katrina, and Rita, but I also last did this before we learned how late the West Side Story screeners were. So now I'm thinking I'll drop one of them, probably Rita, but I don't know who I'll replace her with.
I feel like Anne would get in here. As much as we've talked about Mass the whole season and how it is a true ensemble and how Martha Plimpton is great, I think if it's going to get a nomination for one of the actors at SAG, it would probably be Anne. And I could also make the argument for Reed Birney, but I don't have him in for supporting actor. But I don't know. That was it. And if they go for Coda, Marlee Matlin seems like an obvious.
Yeah, I had her in there earlier, and I might just put her back in. I don't know. Or maybe I'll do Viola Davis.
I guess the other questions are Viola Davis or Unforgivable, which I never even thought of in a million years until you mentioned it here 20 minutes ago.
I love her. She has not lost an individual nomination since Doubt. So she just won last year.
And any chance Meryl gets in for Don't Look Up? I don't think it's one of Meryl's best performances, let's say, but it is a big performance. And she is playing like Lady Trump in a movie that was watched 270 million hours. Many by SAG voters, probably.
I feel like Don't Look Up's like best chances for individual nominations probably Leo. I don't know about any of the supporting people. Like I don't even know if like J-Law can get in. I don't think so. But I feel like the supporting people, they were all like some, you know, however divisive like Mark Rylance's performances or whatever, like however you feel about like Jonah Hill. I don't know if like any of them really like stood out that much. Like I like Cate Blanchett and what she did, but I don't know about Nominator either. And she also has Nightmare Alley.
Right.
So yeah, I will say like I have like initially I did not think about putting in Ruth Negga for Passing because I don't feel like that's the type of movie they would go for. But if she does get in, I feel like that kind of like almost like locks up her Oscar spot because I've had her like in and out of my top 5 at the Oscars, but if she gets into SAG, I think she's fine for the Oscars.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see after we do the supporting actor. I want to ask you one question about both of these categories based on last year's, but let's do supporting actor first and then we'll double back. Supporting actor, my predictions are Kieran Hines for Belfast, Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog, Jamie Dornan for Belfast, Troy Kotzer for Coda, and Jared Leto for House of Gucci. That's the chalk 5, and I just went with the 5.
Okay, so I have I have Cody. I have Kieran Hines. Troy, I have Jarrett, and I still have my guy Mike Feist in here again. I did this like 3 weeks ago before we found out about how late the screeners were. I don't know if I would drop him though, because I don't know who I would replace him with. I guess Jamie Dornan, but I don't know.
So you could do your boy Jesse Plemons. He's worked with everybody. I feel like I don't know if like I have him in at the Oscars, which I've explained before, but I don't know if Power of the Dog will get 4 individual nominations because even though before I said I could see it just getting the individual nominations and not ensemble, I could also see it missing for maybe like Kirsten or Cody too. Right.
So
I guess down the list would be like John Bernthal for King Richard. Not a lot of buzz at the moment, but an actor who's worked with everybody, including Viola Davis in The Unforgivable. So they've probably watched The Unforgivable at the very least.
And seen his performance. Both down the line.
And Robin DeJesus for Tick, Tick, Boom, if you're really into that.
That would be good too. That would be fun.
Pacino for House of Gucci. Our boys Ben Affleck ×2. Last Duel in Tender Bar.
Why are they like everyone's nominating him for The Tender Bar? And I'm like, stop. It needs to be The Last Duel.
So let me ask, this is what I was going to ask you, Joyce. Now that we're through all the categories here. Who is the Jared Leto little things of the SAG Awards this year? Because that was like
funny that you should ask that right after you brought up Ben Affleck, because I feel like because I was talking to someone, I don't remember who. It was one of our contributors, Luca, but he was saying he was predicting Ben for The Tender Bar, and I was thinking like I feel like that could be the Jared who, because that movie is so minor, just like the little things, and like it's not gonna get nominated for anything else really. Like what?
Nothing else.
No, nothing else.
While we've spent this whole episode talking about how SAG gets things so late, and it's late, and like Tender Bar is only in theaters and only come in Amazon. I think
they sent a screener kind of early though, but
they did, and they were also screening it very early. We saw it so early. When did we see it?
We saw that in mid-October.
So it's like they've been screening that for months, like literally months. And I feel like a lot of people have seen it, and they've done a lot of like industry events for it. And so I think that is a possibility for sure that Ben gets in for Tender Bar.
It's funny because that logic was also how 2 years ago I immediately like put in like Jamie Foxx for Just Mercy. I got that category completely right because I was like so confident in Jamie Foxx for some reason, but because I knew it was like screening early, and that role is like so baity, even though I didn't think like the movie or him were gonna land anywhere else, and he got in. So, but I don't feel that way about like this lineup at all, like anyone here.
Well, I will say like the people we've talked about here, Jared Leto and Jamie Foxx, are legit massive movie stars. So I think then if you're looking at that, like Ben Affleck getting in for Tender Bar actually does make sense. And then I could see him like, it's crazy because he's leading the odds, but would you be really surprised if Cody Smith-McPhee was snubbed here? I don't think I would.
Mean, no, like I said, I could see just it not land. Like, I feel like there are hardcore Power of the Dog stands, and obviously those are the ones who are going to vote for him, but it's also like how many of them are in the nom-com.
Right.
Because I feel like in general, there's a lot of Power of the Dog stands, but how many of them are there voting who get to pick the nominees for everyone else in the membership to vote? So
who knows? And like, it would be totally ridiculous to not predict him because he's literally leading the odds, but I almost want to
and he's like dominating the Critics Awards. And
I almost want to not predict him. Maybe I should just do it, go down in flames.
I feel like if you're going to drop one of the Power of the Dog actors, I feel like it maybe should be Kirsten, even though I love her and I want this for her, but I feel like she could, not to make the Amanda Seyfried comparison again, but I feel like she could get snubbed just like Amanda Seyfried did here last year, but she still ended up with the Oscar nomination.
I would say the only reason I think that the difference is that, no offense to Amanda Seyfried, who's great in Mank, and I really loved her, and I know she was snubbed here. Kirsten Dunst, I think, has a much more like exemplary career, I guess. She's worked with a lot more people, and I feel like she's very well respected as an actor, whereas Amanda Seyfried, it was like a surprise maybe that she was doing Mank, right? Like,
that was like her first big like
drama role,
like awards player,
And Kirsten Dunst has done like been in a lot of like, she was Hidden Figures, right? She like is in like ensemble.
Yeah, she's a SAG winner for Hidden Figures
and Fargo. Like, you know what I mean? She's done a lot of like big popular things with SAG. So I feel like she will get in. I'm actually going to I'm going to do this, Joyce. I'm dropping Cody right now. He's out.
Or who?
I'm putting Ben in. We're doing this.
So here's my other thing with like the whole Ben and Jared thing.
Ben's in. I got him in.
Okay. But like, what if like Jared is snubbed actually?
So I thought he could be, but I just think the performance is too great.
I feel like I don't have him in the Oscars anymore. And I know you dropped him too for the Oscars. But yeah, like I still have him in here because it is such like a SAG friendly performance. It's like
so big,
but at the same time, it's still divisive. Like the thing with The Little Things last year is that, we were all kind of like, what's happening? Why is this getting nominated everywhere? But that performance wasn't divisive. Like no one like outright hated it. It was just kind of like, he's doing this like creepy, like murderer type thing. And that movie was, just on like on HBO Max. It was just like this Denzel thriller, January release, but there wasn't like any like derision, like, lobbied at it or anything. Whereas I feel like for, every person who like loves whatever Jared was doing in House of Gucci, there are like 20 times people who like hated it, and it's like WTF. So I feel like, I don't know, it's, I guess like, like Little Things is just like, I can see why they went for it because there was less hatred towards it, whereas this is more divisive. So like, can he miss here?
He can, but I just would be surprised.
Yeah, like I still have him in here. I don't know.
I'd be surprised. I just think he's so big.
But also, like we were saying yesterday, it also feels like the Gucci buzz has diminished a little bit.
So I think maybe that actually goes to help. Then I think the buzz has diminished, but I think people are kind of like, I think the memory of it is like positive for some reason. Maybe that's wrong, but I think like the people who didn't like it are probably just forgot.
Well, I feel like
it's
like the positive reaction is still for Gaga.
Right.
Like no one like hates her performance.
No. Well, I have her in too, so I don't know. Maybe it'll get Ensemble, Joyce. What if that happens?
Where is it in Ensemble?
What if two Ridley Scott gets in Ensemble? What if Last Duel surprises?
Last Duel is getting paid dust by everyone, and it's very sad.
Anything else just before we wrap up here?
I don't know. Like, is there any one we didn't talk about?
Not really. Is there any like long shot you'd be like, oh, I'd love to see that happen? I guess we kind of just did that with like Ben Affleck or whatever.
Ben Affleck for The Last Duel, not The Tender Bar.
That's good. I'll be curious to see. I was talking about this with somebody today, and I think we'll have a better sense once like SAG gets the nominations come out and then like actually who wins.
Well, yeah. Also, Wednesday is BAFTA long list too, so we're really gonna cull down the field on Wednesday.
Because I'm just like, I don't even know who will win these categories like at the Oscars. I know not to like derail this and to make this even longer of a show and to put on more Oscar talk, but I'm just like, I don't know. Like the supporting actress, I could see like any of the women they're winning. Literally, if you were like, oh, Anjanae Ellis won, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like it wouldn't surprise me. None of these would surprise me.
Yeah, well, last year SAG only went 2 for 4 in the individual categories because Viola and Chadwick Boseman lost. So, I'm
just like, I don't know.
And you know, the thing with SAG also is like it's SAG after now the membership, like it's been that way since 2012, I believe. So it's not just actors anymore. So it's the composition of the membership has changed in the past decade, and you've seen the voting patterns become more populist as well. So yeah, I feel like we're going to see more of that like deviation. Right. And like, you know, with the Oscars is like they're also adding more members, you know, from across the globe, like aggressively in the past 6 years now, right? Yeah, 2015, 7, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
It's a lot of years. Since
Oscars so white, you know what I mean. Yeah. So I between like all those things, like I don't think there'll be as much correlation maybe anymore. And also like with this sort of extended calendar, because Oscars are in March, voting for Oscar nominations doesn't start until the end of January.
Pretty wild.
So the Oscar voters still have 3 weeks to watch everything and do their own thing. Whereas, you know, in the past, when the Oscars were in February, or like 2 years ago, when the Oscars were in early February and the calendar was so condensed, there was so much overlap there. You know, you would just have like the first weekend of January, like all these award shows, and then voting overlap. So then everyone is like responsive to like who won what like 2 days ago and everything. And that's why, you know, we've seen like so much rubber stamping over the past like 2 decades, or like 17, 18 years now since they moved it to February. So I actually like, I like it in March. Like I grew up with the Oscars in March, and also fewer award shows back then where you did see like different winners at award shows because there was just more distance between them and like people did their own thing.
More of that, Joyce. I would love
more variety. Like it's a lot more fun. It's not like hating on anyone in particular, not wanting someone to win. It's just like
just more variety.
It's so boring.
It's so boring.
Like 2 years ago, we never talked about the acting races after nominations because we just knew those 4 were winning. Like Joaquin.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this year, I mean, hopefully it doesn't like fall into that pattern again. Because like last year was a lot of fun with Best Actress for sure.
Yeah.
And even Best Actor ended up being a surprise as well. I was like, I don't know. I would love this year to kind of follow suit because it just is. There's just so much. I don't know. It's just looking at the list. You're like, wow, I don't know who's who.
Yeah, I don't want like any show to go like 5 for 5, like matching, like, and like, you know, with BAFTA changing its process.
Yeah.
You know, like last year, it just, you know, it was like chaotic because they had their juries, and then they tweaked the rules for this year because they snubbed like so many like front runners like Carey Mulligan, you know, and Viola Davis last year. So now for BAFTA, the top 2 vote getters on the long list automatically get nominated in acting, and then the jury picks other 4. So there'll be a little bit more alignment, because I feel like you'll probably have like Olivia Colman, like Kristen Stewart, like automatically in there. Whereas if they were using last year's jury, just full on jury, maybe 1 or 2 of them wouldn't have gotten in. Olivia didn't get in last year for The Father, so I don't know.
Well, Joyce, we should wrap up here. Leave it at that. I know we'll be back here.
We're coming up on 10 p.m. here.
It's pretty late. I'm tired. I'm going to be dreaming about all these SAG Award predictions, and then I guess we'll reconvene here after the SAG Award nominations next week and talk about them.
So much to say. I don't know.
I can't wait to look back and be like
drastic before Wednesday.
I'm not changing anything back. I'm just going down in flames with Yellowstone and Ben Affleck, my populist, right on my populist flag. Gonna watch Paramount Plus. Rolling.
Are they like paying you under the table? What's happening? It's just.
Oh, I wish. No, they're not. Nobody is. But no, we'll come back and we'll talk about all this next week. But Joyce, this is fun. I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay. Good night.
I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.